All right, welcome everyone. I am Leslie Wooten. One of the ideas that we spend a lot of time thinking about is a concept called stove to strategy. Premise is pretty simple. Most businesses will start with a small idea, sometimes literally a recipe or something that you got cooking in the stove. And then you turn that into the challenge of building a business, something structured, scalable, strategic. And that journey is a simple concept that we see entrepreneurs doing every single day. We find those aha moments that we're thinking about. What risk can we take? How can we turn this into something that's going to be a win-win for ourselves and our clients? So today we're going to get to talk with two people who are doing exactly that, Sterling Smith and Scott Ponowitz.
Ponywise.
Ponywise. Yeah, I was
Ponywise.
almost there. All right. And they are with RightMatch. So sorry, Scott, I just asked you for it and I tried it and I hit you. I was like, man, I'm about to mess it up. But we've got the text there. You'll be able to see them there, and we'll hear a little bit about that. But with RightMatch, it's about a new way of looking at what a candidate or an employer can do through tackling interviews and evolutionary tools through AI to help find candidates. I'd love to hear your perspective on what you got cooking.
Yeah, so from a high level, what we're helping our customers do is remove noise in the interview process. One thing that we learned during the very early days, it's still very early days for us, but during the very early days when building out RightMatch, obviously before you write any lines of code, you definitely need to do customer discovery. And one of the questions we'd ask potential customers is like, what's your process like today and what's the biggest bottleneck? And they would say, look, I post a job on Friday and by Monday I have 1,300 applicants that applied and I don't know who to hire. I don't know who to move throughout the process. And that was, in early 2024 when we were doing that early customer discovery. And with the increase in, unfortunately, the increase in layoffs, and with the number of tools that are available to candidates to polish, tailor, and automatically apply in some cases to roles, that number has exploded. And so those same customers are seeing even more candidates come through their pipeline. And so what we're focused on doing at RightMatch is helping to separate the signal from the noise. We're helping those recruiters who would typically receive 1,200 and 1,300 candidates over the weekend understand who they should spend more time talking with by removing resumes from day one and moving interviews to day one. I'm sure we'll talk more about that.
Well, sure, and I see that just through LinkedIn directly, where you have the quick apply, and we've worked with clients that just have so many people applying, and I think the big one that we see all the time is forklift operators, and I don't know if it's a meme, but I've definitely seen it, and they're just going through, and it's a certification, and it's everywhere. So that quick apply, as convenient as it seems, what I'm hearing you say is that it's just flooding recruiters with thousands of applicants, and then we sit back and we say, hey, they haven't applied, but there's literally somebody trying to go through it. So it sounds like we've got a way to filter that and start bringing qualified applicants up to the top of the list, so that you can see who's in your pool. Is that about right?
Yeah, so what RightMatch does is whenever a candidate applies, typically what happens is the candidates will go through LinkedIn or Indeed into a recruitment team's applicant tracking system. So that might be Workday, that might be Lever, that may be Smart Recruiter, you name it. There are dozens of them that exist. We integrate with most of them, most of the popular ones. And when a candidate comes in and applies via the easy apply button, what happens effectively at a high level is our application is pinged. We get a chance to evaluate using AI, evaluate the candidate's application. And then we are able to send interview requests via text and email to the most qualified candidates.
Okay.
And by the way, our solution conducts the first round of interviews. And before the candidates that may be watching this video get on the defensive a little bit, they should know that what we're hearing from our early customers, and maybe Scott, you can talk to what candidates are saying on the platform after they take interviews in a second. But what we're hearing from them is that this respects my time. It cuts down a process where I might apply and then wait 2 weeks to hear from the recruitment team. I'm hearing from them moments after I apply, and I'm able to jump off the page. But Scott, maybe is there anything you want to add or take away from that?
Please.
Yeah. And I think, Leslie, you were talking about the easy apply. And I think a lot of candidates are also feeling the heat on that when they see hundreds or even 1,000 that have applied to a job. A lot of times they're like, why would I even bother submitting my resume? And so with employers and candidates alike, they're basically bumped up based on quality of their resume and if they have the fit, but then it gives them a chance to stand out and show the employer, hey, I've got the skills. I don't just put them on my resume. I can talk through how I work through things, show a little bit more signal. On top of that too, they don't have to worry about the back and forth of scheduling or like trying to sneak out of the office midday to go take a 30-minute phone screen. They can do it 2:00 in the afternoon, 2:00 in the morning. And so all of our candidates submit feedback, and most of them will say, hey, I've never actually done this before, but it was surprisingly pleasant and I really liked it. And so we really focus as much on the employer side as we do on the candidate side to make sure that
it sounds like you're definitely bringing the human side to life versus the formalities or worrying about calendars or scheduling, to where you can stick to just the process of interviewing from both sides, the candidate and the recruiter, so that you can take these steps in the process, the communication, knock out different checkboxes without having to say, well, I can only do that next Thursday at 2. It's like, well, I can do that now, and then you can take care of something. So am I gathering right that it's able to see these building blocks come together a little bit faster, even if you can't coordinate through a calendar?
100%. Good.
Okay.
That's Scott.
Yeah, and that efficiency, I think, is very helpful for both sides because, you're not going back and forth. You're not missing emails. And then on top of that, if you're a candidate that wants to get hired faster, you don't have to wait a week and a half to do a phone screen. You can do it today and, be in the seat within 2 weeks, where normally that screening interview might take 2 weeks just for the first step. So
that's win-win for everybody. And I know that AI was probably the word of the year last year or whatever it might have been, and that we still have conversations about how do you feel about AI? Does AI help? Is AI taking jobs? I see that this is helping because the fluff that might be in that candidate pool of just people that click quick apply and didn't read the qualifications, maybe have the best interest, best intentions, but they're not qualified for it. It sounds like this is helping recruiters be able to get to the meat of what they're looking for. Can you talk a little bit about how AI is searching or helping this solution on either side, recruiter or candidate?
Yeah, I mean, we have a part of our North Star sort of vision statement is to positively impact the outcomes for candidates, for 100 million candidates by 2035, right?
Okay.
So that's a pointed, commitment that our team is making to candidates in the pool, not just to our bottom line with recruiters who are using our software. Because we see a world right now where it's harder to stand out throughout the interview process. Maybe you can blame it on the system that we find ourselves in a state where candidates are applying to roles on LinkedIn. And if you've recently applied to a role on LinkedIn, what you might find is that 3,000 or 4,000 applicants is the limit, and the job is shut down, and that happens pretty quickly. So figuring out how we can use software, and specifically the latest and greatest tooling, to help candidates improve their outcomes, and like we said a moment ago, jump off the page and really tell their story in a unique way. We believe that that's going to be a part of the formula that solves for the problem on the candidate side. And then with recruiters, we have quite a few customers now, and what we can tell you is that there are 1,000 flowers blooming. If we talk to 10 recruiters about their process after candidates apply, we get 11 different processes that are employed.
Sure.
There's just a lot of, no one's following any sort of standardization, and results vary because of that. And that what we're seeing is that there's an opportunity to leverage this technology to help remove bias at top of funnel, to help really understand who can do the work based on the candidates explaining based on their experience in unique ways, using multimodal video, audio, screen share to tell their story, and then with just 10 or 15-minute interview. So for the candidate, it's not very expensive in time, and for the recruiter, they're able to get a high signal. And even if they can't hire that person for the immediate role, they have someone they can go back to in a few weeks or a few months to make a decision. And so this data is valuable in more ways than one.
I love that on the solutions and how it's a win-win. It sounds win-win to me. I'd love to hear what some of your potential clients or some of your early conversations are. What are some of the hurdles that you're overcoming or the objections that you might get? What do you hear from potential clients, somebody who might be watching this thinking, yeah, but does it do this? Or where are the hesitations and how are you getting past that to prove that this is one of the better products on the market for talent acquisition?
Scott, you take a first stab and then I'll land the ship.
Yeah. No, so I think some of the concerns are just that like they feel, oh, maybe candidates aren't ready for interviews quite yet, or for video interviewing quite yet. And I think that's one of the biggest questions. And with those particular customers, I mean, the candidates speak for themselves. And just to give you some numbers, like one of our clients started using Mira to automate this interviewing on day one. And the first job that they tried with it, they went from taking over 30 days to put somebody in seat to under 15 days.
Okay, so time to fill is getting cut in half in some instances. Maybe no promises, but in half sounds good to most recruiters.
That was the first time that they went through the motion. Awesome. And they went, wow, this is incredible. And for them, they also started to realize that with all those applications that are flooding them with the easy apply, a lot of them are just spraying and praying. To Sterling's point earlier, there's tools that'll help them, or they're just clicking repeat, easy apply until somebody may respond. But then it also gives you as the hirer signal to show that, okay, this person's actually serious about working for me. They might have done a little bit of research before this video interview. Whereas you might otherwise start tracking down people that are going to no-show for phone screens and things like that. So
the effort is there and it's evident. So,
and then, thank you for that, Scott. And then I think on the other side, one thing that we also heard from, of course, folks that we who are new to this space or during initial conversations is, what about the human element? Our employer brand is very important. We do not want to compromise that by, sending a callous, automated, agentic interview to candidates to complete. Like, how do we keep that human touch that's so important to us and our brand? And we've worked closely with our customers to solve for that and to make sure that they don't lose that, especially in a world in which you have so many candidates that are applying, and you need to figure out who you spend the most time with without taking 20 or 30 interviews a week for one role. And some of the ways that we're doing that are via, we've provided the ability for recruitment teams, and whether it's the recruiter or the hiring manager, to provide a brief video intro. So the
other way around, for the candidate to see.
For the candidate to see. So the first thing that they see when they click on that text message that came in their inbox, that came in their phone 2 minutes after they applied, because we've already evaluated them, we think they're a good fit. The first thing they'll see is me saying, hey, I'm Sterling. I'm hiring for a sales development representative for my team. If you're based in the Austin, Texas, or Northwest Arkansas regions, we have pickleball on Tuesday, and we work 4 days a week in office, whatever, or from home. I think that's probably cooler. 4 days a week from home. And we'd love it if you join the team. We'd love it if you join the team. This is going to be a pretty straightforward interview. The next step of the process is this, and so on and so forth. And candidates, they appreciate that because they don't just feel like another number. And then from there, they go into the interview process with context. And so that's just one example of what we're doing to ensure that the human touch is incorporated into the process. But there are several other things that we've done to work by working closely with now hundreds of recruiters to make sure that we help them keep the human touch.
Fantastic. So for anybody who's listening or might hear in the future, where can they go to either get a demo or talk to you one of you guys, see the product? Where can we send people?
Yeah, so we have sort of a RightMatch Lite solution that we're getting ready to roll out. It's actually a very exciting time, and I guess we're kind of breaking this with you, Leslie. But we have a product we're getting ready to roll out, and if you're brave, and the only thing we ask for with this product specifically is that you give us the benefit of the doubt, because we're still, rolling it out in phases and cohorts. But if you reach out and you mention that you connected us via Leslie Wooten, then we'll prioritize getting you access to it. But if you visit mira.rightmatch.app, that's mira.rightmatch.app, you'll see that. And it's really kind of a RightMatch Lite that's really focused on getting you access to the interviewing part of the puzzle that our customers really are enamored with at this stage. And it's I think it starts at $99. I know it starts at $99 a month, so it's incredibly affordable to try it out. And then, of course, you can just visit rightmatch.app if you're looking for a more comprehensive solution. But we're happy to chat, here, there, or you can, I'm sure, find us on LinkedIn and DM either one of us to find ways to connect as well.
Okay. Sounds like you've considered the 80-20 rule and just focused on the 80 or the 20. Yeah, whichever. Yeah, you're focusing on these are the pieces that work. That's fantastic. Cool, and I appreciate the quick pitch. If I can do anything to guide somebody your way, I think that's win-win. You guys have been great partners. I've enjoyed talking to you over the last almost a year now. We've talked through a few things, and excited about what you've changed, what you've done, and how you're being innovative in the industry where we see so many people trying to find jobs and trying to find candidates, and you're helping those two things meet. So fantastic. Anything else from you, Sterling or Scott?
I'll start. Scott, if you don't have anything or take anything away, feel free. But what I'll say, it's honestly working with partners like you, Leslie, that help us really hone in and understand what the market needs, because we're above everything else, we're problem solvers, and we're committed to working closely with the people who are on the front lines working to utilize software like this to make better hiring decisions and to move the needle within their organization. So from the recruiter side, it's like, how do we make the product better, more efficient, solve problems for you internally? And for the candidate side, I think Scott mentioned, we actually get feedback after every interview from candidates. And we use that to just, hone in on how do we make this product the best product on the market for recruitment teams in 2026 and beyond. Scott?
Yeah, no, I think you summed it all up, and thanks so much for having us on, Leslie. And we'll look forward to staying in touch and hopefully connecting with some of your audience members as well.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Well, hopefully you can help us build that audience up. We'll be posting this soon, but thank you, Sterling. Thank you, Scott. I've been talking to Sterling and Scott from RightMatch. If you're looking for some talent acquisition solutions, we'll go there. I'll leave links and everything I can. And I'm Leslie Wooten. This is Stove to Strategy. So thanks, guys. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank
you all. Take care. Bye-bye.